This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is celebrating its 45th anniversary this year, which means I would have been 2 years old when that thing was originally released. I didn't see it at 2 years old, obviously. But I have a lovely guest on the phone with me who I had on the show 3 years ago, and I'm so happy to have her back on. Yes, we have the meat hook victim. We have the lovely, the beautiful, the talented Terri McMinn. How do you do, Terri?
Hi, thank you, Greg.
Yes, nice to have you back. You're a two-time guest. I'm happy. I'm honored. I'm tongue-tied and honored.
That's so sweet of you.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your asking me to interview again. Thanks a lot.
Well, back in March, I had John Dugan on here to talk about his 7-hour makeup job to make him look younger.
Yeah.
And John said complimenting things about working with you.
Yes. We just got back from Moline, Illinois, and before that, Calgary. I did a show with he and Ed. So we had a lot of fun. And now I'm not doing much, but they're both going out quite a bit. So I'm fine about staying at home.
Is Ed hitchhiking to these conventions?
Well, it's usually 2 days of flying. And and I don't know, the last time when they flew me to Illinois, I was stuck in the middle on both flights.
Okay.
And, it's like, give me a window or give me an aisle, give me a break. Flying all day in the middle, no thanks. I'm not interested, So anyway, but we had fun, and the people were lovely. So it's fun to get to go out and do a few shows a year.
Well, when in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you didn't have a window. You were in the back of a van.
I know. You're right. We didn't. It was pretty dismal.
I mean, you could have been on the plane in the middle of the aisle with what's the guy in the wheelchair's name?
Right.
You could have heard him being cranky.
Yeah. Oh, Franklin. Mm-hmm.
Franklin. Imagine sitting by him for a flight.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, I have not been able to get Ed Neal on here. He's never responded to me, so I don't know.
Yeah, people constantly, ask me how to get in touch with Ed, and it's like, I have no idea. Why are you asking me?
Well, I know
no
he's on
clue.
Facebook, but I don't know. Facebook, a lot of times they'll filter messages. I've had people get back to me after a year after seeing my message. Yeah. And
I really don't know how, we all run our lives differently, and I always get back to people. So, I do, John does. Alan's not on Facebook very much, but you can always email him.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, we don't see him very often. He's not as active. And Ed Gwynn's very good about getting back to people. So, the rest of us are. And, I would say that I always say to people, well, post on his page, maybe he'll answer you. That's all I know.
I should post on his page, say, the van's out front.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, well, I'd love to get Ed on here at some point, but I did get John Dugan, and he was a delight to talk to, and
yes.
Yes,
he's a darling.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so happy to have you on here. It's a badge of honor to have you on here. You're in that iconic meat hook scene, so.
Yeah, amazing.
What
Who knew?
what do you think 45 years later and people not just talk about the film, but that scene that you're on the hook, that is a major highlight scene.
It affected a lot of people. I always have people that walk up to me at shows and tell me how old they were the first time they saw the scene, and it impacts a lot of people's psyches. So I'm very grateful because we worked hard on it, and I'm just glad it came out. And we're finally appreciating a few residuals here and there since they put us in the 3D one. And that Alan called me and told me that it had been on television late, the other night. And also it appears that they had a showing of it at South by Southwest, which was, recently. And so anyway, it's nice that they did that for us in the 3D version. And Carl, the producer, made sure. So we get residuals when they show that one. And that's good. We don't get the same treatment from showing the film, the original film. We only are given residuals if it's shown on the big screen in the theater,
Okay. Well, I got to say, that 3D one, it had that gorgeous Alexandria Daddario in it.
Yes, she is lovely. She is lovely, but they had a really screwy timeline on that.
They did. That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's why I wrote the stories Pam Lives, so we could get back onto the timeline. And those have been really popular, so I sell those, and people love them. So it's good memorabilia to collect, for Pam.
I gotta get those. I have not done that yet, and I remember on my last time I had talked to you, I was going to do that. I have not got onto that yet. You're still how many?
I've had several reprints since then. So I'm glad to know that people love them because I enjoyed writing them. So that was good, but 45 years, pretty amazing.
How many Pam Lives books do you have?
Right now, how many do I have on hand?
No, how many different ones? Do you just have the one?
Oh, it's just one. It's 3 stories. It's part 1, part 2, and then I wrote a story about Franklin and Sally Hardesty,
Okay.
And so, but that's it, and they're popular, and that's probably all I'm going to write, but, anyway, it's a great deal. People can find it on Pam's page.
Okay.
Pam, the original Chainsaw Gal on Facebook. It's, I think, the last item on the page where I show the pictures, and I have a few magnets that I sell.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what I do.
Okay. I would love to get you to a convention, I just started doing conventions in 2017 when one of my Canadian actors guests invited me to assist her at Horrorama in Toronto. And it's like, it was the first time I'd ever been on a plane and the first time I think I've ever been out of New Brunswick. So it was like...
Wow, really?
Yeah, Lisa...
Well, that's amazing.
Well, Lisa...
Well, yeah. I'd love to go back to Canada. I've been so far to Calgary and Niagara Falls, and so I'd love to. Canadians are just wonderful, and a lot of us think about moving to Canada.
Yeah, we won't get too political on here, but I know what you're talking about.
No, don't need to, but yeah. Some of us have looked at Canada as a great place.
Well, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. Yeah, I'm actually afraid to go to the States right now with everything I keep hearing on the news.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like a different country than we knew before. So it's pretty. I mean, it's right now. It's a country I actually do not recognize. It
Yeah.
was pretty messed up when I was a child
Mm-hmm.
because we had the civil rights stuff that was had to be that we needed to make changes and. There's a segment of the population that just refuses to wake up,
Yep.
and so anyway, it is crazy. So it was a joy to get to go to Calgary. To be honest with you, I stayed an extra couple of days, and my hosts were very kind to drive me around and show me the city, and so that was lovely. I like to when I go places try to stay a couple of days. I'm hoping to get to go back east more, to
Mm-hmm.
Chicago. I'd like to go to Chicago. I've never been in a show there. Also back, I wouldn't mind doing one of the big shows in the east, you know. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm actually a co-producer on a movie right now, and that's being shot in New Mexico and Los Angeles, and I just did it on Indiegogo. And I told the director, I said, I will not be going to the premiere in Los Angeles because right now it just seems to me that things seem to be a little messed up over there. And I'm not saying Canada's perfect, but I hate turning the news on for everything I hear. So,
Yeah, it's 24/7,
yeah.
and not there isn't a day that something out of the ordinary and not positive isn't on the news. So,
Exactly.
but anyway, we're stuck with it. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, you can always come here. You're welcome. Just as long as you can deal with our winters, that's all.
yeah, that is the key issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I like snow more than I dislike things over here.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was invited to Horrorama in 2017 by Lisa Langlois, who was in the movie Class of 1984, and she was on my show twice. And you mentioned staying an extra couple days and being shown around. I was there for a week, but there was one day that Lisa took me around all the locations where that film was shot, which was really
And what
fun.
was the name of the film?
Class of 1984. It was an early film with Michael J. Fox and Roddy
Yeah.
McDowell was in it. Yeah, it was shot in
Okay.
Canada. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yep. So she and I have become very, very good friends since. In fact, I wished her a happy Thanksgiving here in Canada yesterday. So, so I heard
Oh,
from her.
good.
Yeah. So yeah, I like to do this. This has been a lot of fun for me, and it's interesting to touch base with somebody from such an iconic film like Texas Chainsaw, and you've become iconic for a couple of things too. I mean, everybody brings up the red shorts. Did you ever think that was going to become iconic?
Oh no, no. I mean, when I left the set, I was told by Andy Devine, the actor who was he was actually a big star in the 40s and 50s,
Mm-hmm.
and he started out in the silent films, and he was a stagecoach driver in John Ford's famous movie Stagecoach.
Okay. Yep, I
And
know that one.
Andy Devine. So I was doing a dinner theater play just after I'd finished filming there in Austin, and he told me that it was never going to come out of the can. So, that was the opinion. None of us really knew. It was a scab film. It was non-union.
Mm-hmm.
We had no idea if it would ever come out of the literal can. So it was quite surprising. And then it went through all of its awful. They sold it to a mafia company who absconded with some money, and then they sold our half of the deferred money that we had, after 2 weeks we weren't paid, and so we signed deferred money contracts. And so it took about 10 years for Chainsaw to start becoming the classic, and by that time I was no longer an ingenue. I was in my early 30s, and it was just when cable was coming to, light. And so at that time, it was just a whole different system, because you didn't want to do films that weren't union, and there was no horror genre yet.
Yeah.
It was just beginning. So Chainsaw, The Exorcist, Halloween, all those movies began to, come about. And then the horror genre really took off. And the other cast members were out going to meet fans and doing the circuit, the horror circuit back through the 80s and 90s. But, I wasn't out at all. Bill Vale Kirk wasn't out at all. But here, especially Gunnar and Marilyn and Ed and John were all out, doing stuff. And Alan would meet them in different places too. So, but I didn't come out, and neither did Bill, until 2008.
Okay. That must have been exciting for fans to meet you.
Yeah, had long lines at Monster Mania. It was quite a 3-day experience. And that's a spoiler, because Monster Mania is such a big show. And so I thought they were all like that. Bill and I were like, oh. But we soon found out that, that's one of the bigger shows. And so I was finally invited back recently. They asked me, they said they wanted me to come and do the Texas Frightmare weekend.
That was supposed to be a big one, too.
Yeah, well, it's a huge one. It's the biggest one in Texas. And what film put horror on the map? Can you name that film?
Psycho?
Could it be Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974?
Yeah. Well, that put Texas on the map.
You would have a special booth for that movie if you had the biggest show in Texas, to honor that film. But literally for 10 years, the guy that runs the show said, "Oh, we had her in 2009," And I got so tired of people saying, why don't you go to Frightmare? And I'd say, contact Lloyd. They'd tag me. Lloyd would say, oh, yeah, we had her in 2009, And finally this year I wrote, I don't know. Lloyd doesn't invite us to the show. And he responded to it, and he wrote a sad face. And he said, I don't know where you get this idea. I said, only that I've been tagged 1,000 times and that you've said we had her already. The truth hurts, right?
Well, I'm going to talk to Chris Alexander, who runs Horrorama, and I'm going to see if they can get some of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre people
they should.
That. Yeah.
They should. And, amazingly, Ed Gwynn is one of the favorites on the circuit. They love Ed. He sells his wrenches, the one that he hit Leatherface with, I guess. And, he's the one that saved Sally. He's the truck driver.
Oh, that's right. He does the circuit too, does he?
Oh, people love him. Yeah. He's got his own page.
I am going to have to look him up. I would love to get him on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Super nice guy. Super, super sweetheart.
Yes.
A guy. So
right. I'm going to have to look him up and reach out, get him
definitely.
On. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, you'll enjoy talking to him. He's great.
Yes. Well, I'll have to see. I know they're really booked this year for Horrorama. They're having it later this year at the end of November/December, which is a great way for me to end my year, which is nice.
That's nice. Yeah, I have to be booked a lot in advance because
Mm-hmm.
we travel a lot, and so people need to book me in advance because we just make other plans. If I don't have a show, I'm generally we have places that we go. So anyway,
How about they book you in a van and drive you out?
oh, great idea.
And you guys could pick up Ed on the way.
Yeah,
As long as he
right.
behaves. Yeah, I very excited to have you on. How long did it take you to write the Pam's story, your Pam Live stories?
I wrote it in about a month.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about a month. I wrote it just after I saw the 3D, and I didn't like the timeline. I mean, I was very grateful that they used some of my footage so that, they have to pay me when they... So I was, grateful about that, but I was very disappointed in their timeline.
The timeline was masked.
I thought, why can't you just get the timeline right, for God's sakes,
Yeah, Alexandria Daddario would not have been even around back at the end of that film.
Right, yeah. And that, for me, that just really, I don't know. I couldn't understand why they could not finally get a timeline and just write a really, really, really good script, It would seem that would be, I don't know, but I'm happy with my stories. People love them. Okay. And so I just pushed those, and whoever liked whichever version of the ones that came after the original, good for them. I'm happy.
I like the first one that has you in it.
Well, the good thing about the original is that it's in the Museum of Modern Art Film Archives.
Mm-hmm.
It's in AFI Film Archives. It's in the Smithsonian Institute Film Archives. So that's the distinguishing factor of the original. And it's done more in a documentary style.
Yeah.
So it's much more raw than the other ones. And so that's sort of the thing that sets it apart from the follow-up.
You know what's funny, though? They managed to get Dennis Hopper in for that second one, though, which... and I thought that was actually interesting. They got somebody that generally plays crazy people to go after crazy people.
Right. That was interesting that they were able to get, to sign him on to do it.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the second one?
Did I what?
Did you see the second one?
Oh, sure. I saw it. I did.
Well, we've lost a number of people from Texas Chainsaw. And, we of course have lost Marilyn Burns and Gunnar Hansen is unfortunately gone
yes, Marilyn and I were quite close, so it was a great loss. And Gunnar, of course, he was such a fan favorite, so it was difficult. But at any rate, what I tell people now is you should get us now. We're alive.
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, Terry, don't say that." It's like, I can't help. The trend in life is that we all have to go sometime.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make that up. And, my dad only lived till he was 67. Now, my mother lived until she was like 96.
Well, you're 39 now, aren't you?
How old?
You're 39.
Yeah, right. That's exactly right.
Well, you know what? You are right, because We just lost Dick Miller at the end of January, and I felt so blessed at the end of last August I had him on my show. I was so glad I reached out when I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's why I just, I reiterate. Get us now. We're still alive.
I do tribute interviews for people that have gone. Like I've had Hitchcock's granddaughter on, Audrey Hepburn's eldest son has been on, Sarah Karloff's been on, in tribute. Yep. I heard that Marilyn Burns has a brother. Do you think he'd want to come on here and talk about her?
I have no idea. His name is Bill Burns.
I should find out, yeah.
I don't think so. I think he actually sold all of Marilyn's memorabilia.
Why would he do that?
Well, Bill's not getting any younger either.
Oh.
So, that's what people do when they get old.
Yeah, well, Marilyn is missed, I would have been delighted to have her on here, but I think she passed like the first year I started doing the podcast. So, but
yeah, she passed in 2014.
Oh, actually, no, it was before my podcast. I started in 15.
Yeah. So she was gone in August of 2014, and Gunner 2 years later.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, she was a lovely, lovely, wonderful person. And I'm lucky that we reconnected when I came out in 2008 and got to be very close friends. So it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed getting to meet up at the conventions, and we chatted on the phone all the time. And I'm not a phone person whatsoever. I don't even know how to get into my voicemail.
I don't either.
Yeah, I mean, I told someone the other day, I said, if you want to reach me, you need to send me an email because I'm not going to be, anyway, I'm not a phone person.
The first year I went to Toronto, Mom had said that she left me a voicemail wishing me luck on my trip, and I said, I have no idea how to access that.
No, I must have like 400 voicemails, and I still, anyway, maybe someday I'll go to the phone place and say, can you please get me into my voicemail? Not that I'm going to listen to any of them, but, at least maybe I could, delete all of them and start over.
Well, you might be able to do that, yeah.
No, I know. This guy wanted to interview me, and he said that, I had to get an app for my phone. And I told him under no circumstances was I going to get an app for my phone. And anyway, he eventually got an interview, but it wasn't through an app, I can assure you on that.
You could have a message from Ed on there saying, hey, I need picked up. I'm out in the middle of nowhere.
No, Ed won't be messaging me. No.
When you do these conventions, and I might have asked you this before, but since it's been 3 years, what is the most unique thing you've ever signed?
The most unique thing I've ever signed?
Yeah, is there anything that stands out?
Probably someone's tattoo of me on their body.
Oh, wow. Is that strange to you?
It was in the beginning. Now I'm kind of, used to it. But in the beginning, it was, when I saw my first one, I was so surprised. So, sorry, I had to sneeze. I hope it doesn't.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Anyway, so yeah, I would say that it's tattoos of Pam on the meat hook, Okay. And that's it. But we often sign blades from chainsaws and just various different things that people collect. So that's And when if I'm not in a show and they need me to sign things, they can send them to me. So, so that's my story.
I actually, too, I wanted to ask you about a film I just discovered today when looking through your credits. Cousin Sarah. Like you're listed for that, and you got.
Yeah, they never came up with the money.
Oh, it's not been made?
No,
Oh,
no.
gee, that's unfortunate. You got a great cast in that.
Yeah, no, that was, oh gosh, that was 7 or 8 years ago that they started, that. And that's what you find with a lot of the, low budget things. That, they want to do it and then they'll use your name and they'll, and I put a stop to people using my name until they had the money
Yeah.
because, it just, then they tag me in a billion things and, then it never happens. Like with that was my that and another project.
Well,
Those were my two learning experiences when I first came back out. And now, I'm just not interested in doing things. So,
great cast in this. I got to say that I would have went to this with this cast.
Well,
Yeah.
at one point in my life, I cared passionately, and now, things change.
Well, I know
my ego is just fine with 40 minutes of good film on myself. That's all I need.
Well, you know what? Before I let you go, I do want you to talk and promote your love and passion for animals because I know that you support a lot of animal charities. You want to talk about that?
Yes. I try to post a lot of things just to bring awareness about animals, to people's minds, and about 2013, I actually went vegetarian, and I eat meat a couple of times a year, maybe, but I'm not a. I live mainly 99% on vegetables, and I'm happy with that. I just think that we need a kinder, gentler attitude toward different species.
Yes.
And so I like it when people share their things, and they tag me all the time. So sometimes, like right now, I'm going through a phase of I really don't want to do Facebook because it's, it's work sometimes. And so I'm going through phases where I just, I don't want to, and I don't want to hear political stuff.
Oh, I don't blame you. Don't blame you. Yeah.
And I've, lost a lot of friends because of that. And so it's quite upsetting that, we've gone into this phase in my country that, it's so bizarre. And so anyway, if I do post on Facebook, I do post mainly about animals and, no-kill shelters and things like that, just to try to bring awareness. And then I find a lot of people have the same feelings. So I think there's a segment of the population that is waking up finally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, I'm not a vegetarian by any means, but I do not support killing animals for sport. I know that. That I don't agree with.
Yeah, trophy hunting is not my favorite thing to,
Yep,
but,
I don't.
I have, some very close older friends who just have no qualm about hunting whatsoever. They love it. And they're, completely fanatical about it, obsessed with their guns. And I'm not a gun. I've never owned a gun. I don't want to own a gun.
I don't own them either.
And I don't walk down the meat aisles at the supermarket. So, I'm pretty authentic about my feelings on that,
Yeah. Well, a lot of people I've heard of people that don't eat red meat, but they'll eat chicken or fish, But
yeah, and then find all these adorable chickens who are so affectionate.
Yeah.
And people are like, wow, they just never imagined it. Like even foxes. There's this fox that one of my friends is always tagging me, Juniper Fox, and they've got the cutest little foxes, and they're just loving animals that are quite affectionate. So, I think people are, a lot of people are beginning to understand that different species that we just think of, we look at only as a source of protein, is it's been shown. If you go to the Impossible Burger, which is an all-veggie burger, if you go to their page and their mission statement, you'll be amazed at the way they break it down and how harmful raising meat for eating in mass production is so unhealthy for the planet, But people don't think of it in those terms. They're just sort of like, oh, we have oil, now let's just use only oil. Why should we, use the sun to create energy? So
I just had a veggie burger for the first time about a month and a half ago, and I actually liked it. I wanted to try it, Actually,
yeah. The Burger King now carries the Impossible Burger. And those are amazing. I mean, you really cannot believe it's not meat, but it's
the
not.
same here, yeah.
It's plant-based, so they're delicious. So
I liked it, yeah.
I think when we hang up, I'm going to go get one.
You go get an Impossible Burger?
I just might.
Yeah.
I just might, depending.
Do you have any particular animal charities that you donate to that you want to plug on here?
Oh, I would just say any good animal charities. I donate to several. So, I would just say to people that their local animal shelters are the best place to start, and those are the that are saving the animals that are near you. And if we just work in our own neighborhoods, I think it's a great idea,
I take it you got pets, right? I have a cat. I love my cat.
I travel all the time, so I don't.
Okay.
Because we're gone, like, most of the time.
Okay.
So it's really not possible for us right now. But I've had many pets, yes.
Yes. Well, you know what? I can definitely agree on your passion for animals, and I agree with that. Now, do you have a website that you plug on here too?
No, I just use my Facebook page, Pam. I made Pam get her own Facebook page.
Yeah.
Pam, the original Chainsaw Gal. And I that's the way that I communicate with fans, and I don't just post Pam things. I post everything. So,
Yes.
You might find old Hollywood, you might find art, you'll find lots of dogs, cats, cows, foxes, all kinds of different things. Pam is an eclectic girl.
Yes. I gotta get my hands on one of those books. I'll have to order one from you. I know you said you do PayPal, so I can do that.
Yeah, there's instructions are on the album, Pam's autograph album.
Okay.
And so it's on Pam's page, and it's very simple. People do it all the time.
Well, you know what? I'll have to do that. Before I let you go, I was wondering if I get you to do a plug for my show.
Okay, so this is Terri McMinn, and I want you to listen to the Python's Paradise every week. You must listen all the time to Greg Gilbert at Python's Paradise.
It was lovely having you back on here, Terri, and celebrating this film. And we're all hooked on you.
Well, thank you so much. I consider it very great compliment, Greg, that you've had me on twice. So you have a wonderful week.
Go enjoy your Impossible Burger.
Okay, I will. And thank you so much again.
I'll try. I'll ask Chris Alexander. I'll see if I can get you up here for Horrorama, maybe for next year. Yeah, I think that would be wonderful to meet you.
That would be great. Get us next year.
I'll see what I can do. I've had a few of my guests ask me about that, and so many of them, I would love to get it down here. So I got to see what I can do about that. So we'll see.
All right.
Well, God bless.
Good.
Well, God bless you, and you have a wonderful day, and thank you for the honor.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.